Welcome to Networking RX, a podcast devoted to helping business professionals like you enhance your networking skills in order to become more proficient giving and receiving quality business referrals and improving the overall quality of your life and the lives of those around you. The Networking RX podcast is a production of AmSpirit Business Connections, an organization whose mission is to empower business success through networking.
Welcome to the Networking RX podcast. I am your host, Frank Hagan, founder and president of AmSpirit Business Connections. Today, we have another guest. As our ongoing subscribers know, often on this podcast, I share ideas, insights, and best practices for networking. But occasionally, I'll be interviewing a guest, awesome and interesting people who will share their story, answer some questions, and tell us what they're looking for to grow their professional lives. So today, on the program, we have Matt Ward, and Matt is coming to us from somewhere near Boston. Matt, how you doing today?
Very good. I just have one question for you, Frank. If you interview awesome and interesting people, how did I make the list?
Oh, this is gonna be fun. This will be fun, right? You're gonna make up for that. You're gonna make up for the accountant I interviewed. How's that for pressure?
There you go. That's not hard to do, though.
Yeah. Well, this is for our listeners, this is what I can tell you about Matt. I know I have a theory out there that in every city there's an Uber networker. There's a guy who is just really well connected, somebody who really gets it. And Matt, as near as I can determine, is that guy in the Boston area. So, what I know of Matt is he is an author, and he's a professional speaker, had a podcast for a while. So I'll let you kind of fill in the blanks.
Sure, absolutely. No, that's what I'm doing now, and travel the country speaking about how to get more word-of-mouth referrals in your business and primarily your service-based business. I do also help companies and corporations retain and recruit employees through word-of-mouth referrals. It's all relationship-driven stuff. But prior to that, I was a business owner of a website design agency for over 16 years that I founded here in the Boston area. Hired some staff, and then we ran that for 16 years. And I sold it in 2018 to my longest tenured employee, Mark. And next day became a full-time professional speaker. So love what I do, Frank. It's so much fun, and I love sharing the message about how to network, how to build relationships, how to increase referrals in your business throughout this whole country, no matter what industry it's in.
So you're a professional speaker. That's easy to unpack. That's easy for people to understand. Let's really delve into what it is that you talk about. And I'm not asking you to do your program here. Obviously, we don't have enough time. But you offer a ton of value when you get out and talk to people. I've had many conversations. I would like to be able to share with the listeners some ideas and insights that could help them.
Sure, absolutely, Frank. So the main thing I speak about around this country is this idea called your personal care package, which is the ability to impact other people through caring. And the byproduct of caring about other people is, in fact, word-of-mouth referrals. And simply put, in a nutshell, down into sort of 10 seconds, is that if you show up in other people's lives, they'll show up for you because no one else is showing up for them. It's that simple. And so when we put dollars behind marketing and advertising, we do it for one reason and one reason only. It's to be top of mind, and what they call TOMA, top of mind awareness, when somebody is looking for our product or service, right?
Yep.
And I would argue that you can be top of mind in your prospects, your contacts' minds, when they or someone they know is looking for your product or service simply by showing up, like writing handwritten thank you cards. It's basic stuff like that. It's sending a simple text message. It's sending a quick video message using a video email tool. It's sending a LinkedIn message. It's sending a Facebook message. Using all of these tools that surround us in technology just to check in, not to sell.
Right.
That's the big mind shift that people have to make.
No, absolutely. I tell people the difference between sales and networking is that sales is you're trying to improve somebody's life, take away pain or give pleasure based on something you have to offer, based on what you have. And networking is really about taking away pain or adding pleasure through any means possible. Right?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think sales has a direct benefit to you as the salesperson.
Right.
And I never personally liked cold calling or doing anything around sales, but I did like building relationships. I was always intrigued by other people. What made them tick? Why did they make that decision that they made? I always wanted to unpack those types of things. And so asking those types of questions led to deeper, more meaningful relationships with people, which in turn resulted in so many referrals. The last 4 years I owned my web agency, not a single new client came from other than word of mouth referrals.
Gotcha.
And isn't that the type of business we all want?
No, I think that's the great type of business because people are coming to you to a large degree at that point to buy. They've already decided, I've been referred, whoever sent me is talking you up.
Yeah. I mean, Frank, I define a referral as somebody ready, willing, and able to buy. I don't, if they're not ready, willing, and able to buy, then they're a lead. And right. I'm not out in the world talking about how to get more leads. Like I'm talking about how to get referrals and how to up-level your approach to caring about other people. Because that, and listen, all of that, when you unpack all of that, there's 50,000 different things you can do, whether it's having a cup of coffee with somebody or bringing them a cup of coffee or as I say in my book, Frosty Fridays, stopping by with like small kiddie-sized Frosties from Wendy's and just dropping them off and then walking out. You're not there to schmooze. You're there to just give them the Frosties and leave. And there's things like that. All of those things are small deposits in the trust bank account, and they build up over time. And then people remember you for who you are as a person and not a sleazy salesperson, Right. And I'll tell you what, what the problem with small business these days, Frank? The problem with small business these days is bananas.
Okay. Please elaborate.
When you walk into the networking event and you're standing there and in come 30 or 40 more people that showed up after you, and they start handing you bananas. They don't even know if you like bananas, Frank.
Right.
They don't know if you're allergic to them. They don't know if you're hungry. They don't know if you're afraid of the color yellow. The analogy I have for you is that bananas are the business card in someone's pocket.
Gotcha.
They're handing out business cards before they ever have a conversation. If we meet and within 10 seconds of saying hello, you're handing me your business card, there's something wrong with this picture. Why? Like, you don't even know if I have a need, if I have a need to even take your card to connect you with someone else. That's completely selfish on the part of the person extending the business card. And this isn't a game of buy 1,000 cards and get them out into the world as quickly as possible, because there's other things you can do. You could drive down the highway and just throw them out the window.
Sure.
The idea is not to burn through business cards. The idea is to build deeper, more meaningful connections with people so that they refer you over the long time. Business cards are not for that. They can be an icebreaker, but I have one policy. I don't give out my business card unless I'm specifically asked for it.
Interesting. Pet peeves. What's your pet peeve in networking other than, I guess, business cards? I mean, you've kind of touched on it.
Oh, my pet peeve. So the business card is one. The other one is sort of meeting somebody and rather quickly them asking to get access to my contacts. That's a huge pet peeve of mine. As you said, I'm fairly well known in the Boston area, big networker. I have a lot of contacts. They are deep. I'm continuously working to build, deeper relationships with my contacts through all types of means. And so my contacts are an asset to me. And people know that. I'm a known connector, and I will connect people. But trying a roundabout way, trying the shortcut way, trying the hack way to my contacts, not gonna happen.
They want the whole database, more or less. Is that what they want?
They don't want the whole database. They just want the contacts that would benefit them that are in my database. So they might, within 5 minutes of knowing somebody, they might say, "Hey, do you know anybody that is a networking expert? I would love to connect with them, and maybe they can connect me with somebody else." Right? It's incredibly selfish.
Yeah.
And while I do know somebody who is that's you. I'm not gonna give them access to you that way, because then they're just gonna treat you that way, And so that drives me crazy. The other thing that I can't stand, whether it's being in a business networking, professional business networking group like you guys have, or just a generic sort of monthly meetup that somebody might create. What I cannot stand is when people show up once and they don't come back. And I've heard people explain that there's this sort of quick hit approach to an association or a meetup group or something where they'll come a lot for a short period of time. And so they get well known, they build some connection, then they don't show up for a year or two. And my feeling on that is that that's how you're going to treat my contacts that I refer you, and that's how you're going to treat the clients that I refer you. So I'm not going to refer you, because ultimately I want the best fit for the person who needs the service.
Right. Well, I'll get people who will reach out to me, and we probably exchange stories all day. We could have a whole podcast on this. Hey, I really love what you're all about, blah, blah, blah. Unfortunately, I can't commit to anything that I can't commit to anything that you have or do. But this is what I need, It's like, okay. But I really believe in you. So that's the kind of their give.
Well, then let's put the money where the mouth is, right? I mean, if you believe in me and you're the one who really wants something out of this, why don't you give something first, right? I mean,
and not even necessarily to me. I want to see, are you doing something for somebody,
And they're not, because this is their nature. And this is why, and this is full circle now, back to the caring approach. Because if you make caring your nature, that's what you are known for. That's what comes through. I was on a podcast once, and I was asked, on the live pod, the podcast is recorded, but I didn't know about this question coming in advance. It was, if I'm a liquor store and I go down to the pizza shop, how do I set up a referral strategy to get the pizza shop to do, refer the liquor store or whatever? And I simply replied, well, you go down there and you ask questions about what's available, right? And so in this scenario, we were the pizza shop and we were trying to get the people that bought pizza to go to the liquor store and the people that buy the liquor store to buy pizza. And so I said, why don't you walk in to the liquor store and just simply say, hey, can I learn about a few things? And do you have some flyers I can put on my counter in my pizza shop? And the host said, well, wait, but you don't go in there and say, hey, do you want to do some business back and forth? No, you go in, you care about them. And if that's your nature, that's what's going to show through in all your interactions, right? And this is something that you build up over time.
Yep.
That's how this works. And, I just think that those people that pretend to care, it's so plainly obvious. If you pretend to care because you want referrals, that won't work either. People can see right through that.
Yeah.
And you and I have been doing networking for a long time. We know when someone has an ulterior motive. It's so obvious,
Oh, it absolutely is. I mean, I have a friend who calls it sales breath, sales breath. But it is, it's obvious, and it's, and there's really no way to coach it other than just explain to people they need to be more authentic. They need to be more genuine in what they're trying to do for people.
You know what I do is I the way I coach it is I tell them, just don't. You're not allowed to make statements anymore. You just have to ask questions. That's it. The way you start caring about other people is just start asking questions consistently, and that will change the game for you to start to get referrals. Because the more interested you are in other people, the more interested they will be in you. They'll start asking you questions, and now all of a sudden it's turned around. So if you say, "Oh, I can't give a referral," why don't you just start by asking questions?
Right.
Because now you're learning about them, and you might be surprised how quickly you can get a referral if you start asking people questions. This stuff comes naturally over time. I mean, once you start asking questions, you go down the rabbit trail.
Yeah.
And so what I suggest to people is that you ask a question, and then you ask a question about the answer that was provided. And that's how you go deep. It's like, okay, hey, so what have you been up to lately? And then they tell you, oh, well, tell me about that. And that's intriguing. They start to tell you about that. Well, how did you do that? They tell you that. Oh, well, how long did it take to do that? Or, you meet a banker at a networking event. Well, how long have you been working for the bank? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, how long have you been working in the banking industry as a whole? How long have you lived in the area? Oh, wow. Right. Where'd you go to college? Right. There's tons of information you can glean from people.
Well, and the key is none of it can be leading, right?
No, it's not leading. Yeah.
Well, it shouldn't be, because I see people who will, I don't want to pick on financial advisors, but hey, are you set for retirement, or something like that? It's a leading question, right?
See, that's self-serving.
Right.
That's the stuff we see coming from afar.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You could, by the way, do you ever, the pitcher on the mound and you see him with the big windup?
Yeah.
The guy with the leading question is the one with the windup. You see it coming all the time. Stay away from that, folks. That'll get you burned every time. That's why you're not effective at networking. That's why you suck at networking. That's why it's not working for you. It's because you're winding up and they see it coming and they're running from it.
Right. Yeah, it's not networking, it's sales is really what it boils down to.
Yeah, for sure. That all started with what's your pet peeve? I think that's my pet peeve.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I see people out there who struggle with these things. But I know one guy, he was horrible. Oh my God, he was horrible. I won't mention his name on here. But he was horrible. And then at one point he got it. He realized, oh my God, I've got sales breath, Oh my gosh.
I'm that guy.
Yeah. But to see his transformation is just, it's neat.
So I have to tell you, this brings it full circle because probably 15 years ago, I was walking a trade show floor, and I had a booth at the trade show.
Okay.
And I was walking the trade show floor, and a guy stepped out, Sean, and he goes to hand me his business card. And I said, oh, hey, how you doing? And I put out my hand instead of taking his business card.
Right.
So he shook my hand. It was a bit awkward. You know how that could go.
Sure.
And he says, oh, here you go. And I said, no, I'm all set. And he says, you don't want my business card? And I said, no, why would I want that? And he says, well, surely you know somebody that needs a website. And I looked right at him and then pointed to my shirt, which at the time says In Concert Web Solutions.
Right.
And I said, and why would I want that? And he had no presence to even understand that he was talking to somebody that owned a web design company,
right,
which was a competitor of his, who was also an exhibitor at the trade show. And I will never forget that situation. I just went, oh, wow, this is just not right. This is just so weird. And, whatever the numbers were years wise, I don't remember what year that was, but in 2018, I sold my agency for over 7 figures. In 2017 or 16, he closed his agency. Maybe that's not your definition of success, but I would define that as the definition of successful networking.
Yeah.
I was able to sustain and grow a business with employees and sell it for value when another individual was not. And you can look at the style of how, they went out in the world to promote the business through networking and sales. That was sales breath.
What's the title of your book?
It's called More: Word of Mouth Referrals, Lifelong Customers, and Raving Fans. And they can be found on Amazon, both in ebook format and paperback.
Okay. Somebody's listening. They're intrigued. Maybe.
How many? One person? Two?
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah. How would they get a hold of you? How would he or she get a hold of you? The one person who's listening.
The one person.
But hey, you never know, right?
Yeah, Jane or John.
Yeah.
If you're both listening on the podcast, Jane and John Doe, you can go to mattwardspeaks.com. That's my website, and you can check that out. We got a caring assessment there, self-assessment you can take to determine how well you care about other people. You get a caring score, which you can then work on to improve. There's no cost to do that, and the caring score will be sent to you via email. So you can check that out. And I'm on the Twitters. I'm on the Facebooks. Twitter, Breakthrough Champ, and Facebook, Breakthrough Champion, and Get More Word of Mouth Referrals Facebook group. You can jump in there. We do ask where you found us, because we want to make sure that we have like-minded people in the group. And so if you just put down that you heard us on this podcast, then we'll let you into the group. That's the secret door knock, so to speak. And we just try and help people up level their caring and referral game over there in that Facebook group. So, but absolutely connect on social media. That would be fun.
Yeah, that's the key, is for people who really get and appreciate and practice good networking, kind of join forces and help each other. And that's what I have found over time is that, early on I had a lot of people that, that's, when you're naive, it's like, okay, maybe that's the way you're supposed to be doing it. But then you realize in time, it's the people who are truly doing it the right way who are the most successful. And in time, you build more of those people into your life, as I've built you into my life.
I feel so honored to have been built in. That's great. I love it.
No, but it's, people who look at LinkedIn and say, well, there's no, that's kind of a waste of time. It's not. I've met some great people, you being one. And I can't think of the other. No, I'm kidding. Hey, I really appreciate you being on the program.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you so much. I feel deeply honored.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AMSPIRIT.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is the copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connection. All rights reserved.